Sup you guys, ASD Classified here. So, I remember about 5 years ago, I made a video called the top 5 things that Power Rangers doesn't do anymore, right? And I remember that about a year later, that video quickly became outdated. Like I said that, oh, Power Rangers no longer does main villains who are women, right? And then the following year, Super Ninja Steel made Madame Odious the main villain. So immediately outdated, right? And the video is very outdated now. Like, I said the Rangers no longer teleport, right? And now in Dino Fury, they're teleporting all over the place, right? Or I said, you know, they no longer do battleizers, and Beast Morphers gave us a battleizer, right? Basically, if you consider it that. There was a lot of controversy about what a battleizer is in the comments of that video. Yeah, the video is just, it's outdated. I prefer to make a new one. So this is the updated version, alright? So this is the top 5 things that Power Rangers still doesn't do anymore at the time of this recording. So, number 5.
I'm bleeding.
The Rangers no longer have visible wounds when they are injured in battle. So, I want to say, starting with Lost Galaxy back in 1999, the Rangers started getting visible wounds when they were injured in battle. So the Rangers would be in battle, they get fucked up, they demorph, and then we see these, you know, these bruises, these cuts on them, like on their face and on other parts of their body, and I thought that that looked cool. Like, that was awesome. It definitely adds something special to the show, I feel. Like, the Rangers, like in almost every episode, the Rangers are engaged in these life or death battles, right? It's good versus evil. Only one is going to survive these fights, right? Usually the Rangers. But only one is going to survive, and the Rangers can die. And I feel like just having them get hurt and having the wounds be visible on their body, it just adds to the fact that, yes, even though this is a kid's show, they could still die. They could still get hurt. You know, they are risking their lives to save the world, right? They're putting their lives on the line. And just seeing them be wounded, like visibly wounded, it just helps, you know, put that point across. You know, so from Lost Galaxy through Wild Force, the Rangers would, you know, have visible wounds on them when they would get fucked up in battles and fights and stuff. Then, once Ninja Storm came around, this stopped, right? So Disney owned Power Rangers at that point in time, right? And around Ninja Storm, that's when the mouse really put his foot on Power Rangers' neck, right? And it took so much creative control over Power Rangers, you know. And one of the things it changed was that it didn't want the fight scenes to be so violent, right? It really toned down the violence in Power Rangers. Now, despite what some parents were saying in the 90s, Power Rangers was never really that violent of a show, you know. But when Disney got their hands on Power Rangers, they said, baby, I don't care if it's an action show, we are toning down the violence. And they toned it down in a lot of ways, but the way that's important for this video is that they took away, like, visible wounds. The Rangers no longer had visible wounds. Like, they would get hurt out there. They would even put casts on the Rangers at times. They would be looking weird, but you will not see any visible wounds on these Rangers at all. And that's something that has continued to this day. It's not like once Saban got control of Power Rangers again, we saw, you know, bruises and stuff on the Rangers. No, we didn't. And now that Hasbro has it, we still haven't seen any bruises or wounds on the Rangers. Like in Dino Fury, which is the current season at the time of this recording, in Dino Fury, the Green Ranger got hurt in an episode, like to the point where she had to go to the hospital. No visible wounds on her person. Maybe she was bleeding internally, but there was nothing externally, okay? We even had an episode of Dino Fury where the Red Ranger was slashed with a sword, unmorphed. No cut on his shirt, no cut on his body, nothing. So, like, there's no visible wounds in Power Rangers now. It's weird. I wish that they would bring that back, but whatever, man, whatever. Apparently, kids show means no visible wounds, even though we had it for like 4 seasons. Whatever, okay. Moving along. Number 4.
Kiss me.
no kissing on the lips. This is just a weird one to me. It's so weird, especially when Power Rangers, since like the first season, it had kissing in it. Like everybody knows Tommy and Kim kissed, right? Power Ranger fans also know that Zach kissed Angela, right? So season 1 had kissing in it, right? And you know, if you want, you can say that Lord Zed and Rita kissed as well. But the point is, Mighty Morphin contained kissing. And then somewhere along the line, we said there can be like no kissing on the lips. Like there's plenty of kissing on the cheek around Power Rangers if you're looking for it. But no kissing on the lips. It just cannot be done here. And it's just weird. I don't understand why. And if you have such a crazy rule about kissing on the lips, then why do you do couples in this show? Like, why? It's weird to have people date each other and they don't kiss on the lips. It's just weird. I don't know why this is something that's like banned in Power Rangers. It just feels like such a stupid, arbitrary rule that some jackass came up with one day and it has just stuck ever since. Like, what's the excuse that it's a kid show? There are plenty of kid shows that are cornier than Power Rangers where there's kissing on it. Kid shows that are cornier than Power Rangers and live action, and they have kissing. So I don't get it. I don't understand. I just don't. And I especially don't understand why they always want to like tease the fans. Like, ooh, maybe they'll kiss. I know they did that in RPM. They did it in Beast Morphers recently. Like, what is the point of this? I don't understand. Just let them fools kiss. If you're going to have them date, if you're going to have characters like each other, let them kiss. I remember the actors even try to take it in their own hands. Like the actors in Ninja Steel, Calvin and Haley's actors tried to take it in their own hands and just like, we just gonna fix y'all, we gonna kiss on camera, and they just said no, we're gonna cut it out anyway. Cut it, chop it, exit, delete it, it's done. Why? And Calvin and Haley were like all up on each other, like for 2 seasons, all up on each other, hand holding, dry humping, and you couldn't let them kiss? Really? Especially that little peck on the lips that they did. Weird. But okay, that's another stupid rule that Power Rangers has apparently. No kissing. Number 3.
Rangers, what time is it? It's morphin' time!
Power Rangers is incapable of doing a morph call that doesn't include, it's morphin' time. It is incapable of doing it, and I don't understand. Power Rangers used to be very creative with its morph calls, right? Like they stopped doing its morphin' time by Power Rangers Turbo, you know, and they had Tommy and them, and they said, you know what, no more morphin' time. It's shifting to Turbo. And then it was, you know, let's rock it, you know, and then go, Galactic, and you know, Light Speed, Rescue, you know, Time for Time Force, Wild Access. You know, they were coming up with all these different morph calls, and that was the standard. Until Saban bought Power Rangers back. Until Power Rangers Samurai came. And honestly, I get the reasoning for why they brought the It's Morphin' Time, you know, morph call back. I get it. It was a new era. Power Rangers was canceled and it was uncanceled. And they were trying their best, you know, to get a new audience for Power Rangers, to get that spark, that popularity that Mighty Morphin had. So they tried to do everything that they did with Mighty Morphin to do that. So I get the thinking of why they did it for Samurai. I even get why they included It's Morphin' Time for Megaforce. It was the anniversary season, the 20th, 21st anniversary season. I get why they included it for Megaforce too. I don't get why they included it for Dino Charge. I don't get why they included it for Ninja Steel. I don't get why they included it for Beast Morphers. I don't get why they include it right now for Dino Fury. I don't get it. Can you just... The thing is, like, why? There's no need for this. Nobody is tuning into the current Power Ranger seasons because they said it's morphin' time. Nobody's doing it, baby. You're not getting extra ratings because you said it's morphin' time. It's just not, like, there's no point in this. Just have them say their own fucking morph call. Stop trying to bite off my childhood season, okay? You will never be Mighty Morphin. Let it go. Okay, you're not gonna be Mighty Morphin. You're not gonna have their popularity. Just be your own self. Just have your own damn identity. Get off my damn show. Number 2.
Our powers, they're gone.
The Rangers no longer lose and or give up their powers at the end of the season. Now, this actually used to be pretty commonplace back in the day. Like the Rangers, either their powers would be destroyed or they'd give them up by the end of the season, you know? Like that used to be pretty freaking common, you know, but now... Nowadays, the Rangers, they keep that thing on them at all times. Like, they don't give a shit that the season's over. I don't care if I beat the main villain. These are my fucking powers. They do not give them up. And even if they do seemingly give them up at the finale, like the Rangers did in Dino Supercharge and in Super Ninja Steel, you just gotta wait until the Christmas special and they'll have their Ranger powers back just like that. Like... They really do not give them up. They will keep them for eternity, apparently. You know, they meant it when they said once a Ranger, always a Ranger, okay? They do not give up their powers anymore. They always have them on them at a moment's notice. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I like the fact that, you know, if need be, all the Rangers could just pull up at a moment's notice and help out if you need the whole entire Ranger teams to come together, you know. I like the idea of that. But I also like the idea that there aren't that many Ranger teams running around, and that explains why there's a need for a new Ranger team to show up every year.
Most Rangers don't have their powers anymore. Some never wanted them at all.
And number one.
You have now become the Power Ranger Zeo, the next level in the fight against evil.
Power Rangers no longer keeps the same Rangers for multiple series. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows they stopped that shit like in the 90s, right? So like, I want to say, yeah, in space. They stopped that in space. So from Mighty Morphin until in space, we would have Rangers from past seasons come to be in the next season, you know? You know, Tommy stayed forever. Everybody know that. You know, Rocky, Adam, you know, Tanya, Cat, they stayed for a long time. You know, Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo. Then we got the new Turbo Rangers, TJ, Ashley, and them, Cassie, you know, and they were Turbo Rangers, and then they were in Space Rangers. Like, we don't do that anymore. Right? By the time Lost Galaxy came along, Power Rangers started to be more like the Super Sentai, whereas we have this one team for this one season, and then we switch and get new Rangers and new sets of powers, and that's that. New cast every freaking year, right? Although now, you know, ever since the move to Nickelodeon, they kind of split the one season into 2 seasons. So I guess we get those Rangers for 2 years now, but it's still finite. It's either a 1 year or it's a 2-year thing, and that's it. They ain't no lasting like Tommy did like for 5 years. We ain't doing that shit no more. And they never will, you know. And like my number 2, there's good and bad to this. I kind of wish they would do that again for at least one season where we have like the same Rangers come back. Oh, we got new powers, but it's still these same Rangers. I wouldn't mind them to do that, like at least one more time. But I also get, you know, why they don't do it anymore, and I am glad that they kind of changed that up, because I like the idea that we have all these new Rangers coming in all the time, you know, expanding the lore and whatnot. All right, so that's my top 5 things that Power Rangers still doesn't do anymore. Let me know what you guys think of it. Give me your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Alright, later guys. Jamata. Oh, and happy Pride Month. Bam.